Mr. Joseph from the Nigeria High Commission. Thank you so much for those kind words. I feel like family with you guys. I've seen you guys so much, and we see eye to eye on the mission ahead. That one word being unity, and unity is synonymous with oneness. So hence the one show. And it's such a privilege for me to have all of you here to be able to express the vision that this one show is trying to achieve. I don't even want to say achieve, but highlight, because I think this is happening with or without us. The oneness is occurring at this moment in time. And we just have to align ourselves with it. So let's say Machel 40. Let's celebrate that. First of all, I am grateful to have been here for 40 years, since too young to soca to now. I've seen so much, and I've been part of such a rich culture that I, made a decision in 2020 to take a step back, because I wanted to think about the next 40 years. What is the next 40 years going to look like? What have I done? And what should I be doing next? And consciousness was key. And in that consciousness, unity was still the top priority. We have a lot of issues since the pandemic to now, which are economic, we have environmental, and I think we still struggle with the ethnic issue. And I would love to put the ethnic in the front and let that take care of the environmental, and then we can see the benefits economically. Because I feel that at heart, the global truth is that we are all one. And I think once we can understand that as people, it can help us move to the next step to know that we are one with our environment. The environment is not here to serve us or for us to, function back and forth with it and negotiate with it. It is part of us. And once we, establish that consciousness, taking care of all of us economically is the least important. Taking care of all of us in spirit is most important. And in my music, for this 40th anniversary, you will see songs like The Spirit. You will see songs like Never Again Will I Miss a Carnival, Welcome to the Land of Calypso, Welcome Home in partnership with Caribbean Airlines, home being one Caribbean, one people coming from one place, and I really wanted to do special collaborations with people like Destra Garcia, who's also celebrating a 20th anniversary. We did that song like Is Carnival, because at the core of all of this, Carnival is very, very critical to us. And in Carnival time, we do one thing, you like yourself. Working with Patrice Roberts is, another big moment for me. But most importantly, people want to know, Machel, why did you take the position that you took for 2023 to decide to do one show? I had to celebrate the 40th anniversary. This is actually my 41st year. And I was fortunate enough to come out of the pandemic and celebrate the 40th anniversary, with Tribe in Mexico doing Mele, something we had never done before, a destination carnival, which was highly successful. We went on to punctuate the year with appearances at Essence Festival and many other important, features. It began with me coming out of silence. I spent an entire year in Coimbatore, India, in the mountains, practicing my meditation and my yoga, which was my stillness. And in my very first coming out, I was presented the opportunity to perform at Mahashivaratri with Sadhguru. This event is probably the highest event on their calendar, when the universe is aligned in a special way for the spiritual upliftment of the human being. They stay up on that night, all night, till 6 in the morning, spine upright, to receive the potential of that. And I was asked to perform soca music. I was very hesitant to say, well, what kind of soca music can I perform in a spiritual festival? And I had to start digging in my crates, as the DJs will say. But we were part of a project called Save Soil. The importance of, again, that fundamental part of the environment that we all come from and we all return to. And I saw this opportunity to collaborate with the daughter of Rashwati, Marsh Blackman, on a song. She said she would come to India and sing it with me. And then I started to let me go and introduce them what our music does, which is make you dance with you. And I started seeing all these ideas of how possible it could be. Never in my wildest dream did I think taking a step back would carry me to the ultimate moment of my career. Performing for an audience of 120 million people viewing that show, viewing that presentation. It was a moment of pride. It happened to happen on Carnival Tuesday. I did not even know that was happening, and I made that sacrifice to not be there because it was important for me to ground myself before taking flight into what is the next step for Machel Montano. Had to yin to yang, you have to go in to come out. Stillness is the basis of all activity. Silence is the basis of all sound. And darkness is the basis of all light. So sometimes you have to go dark, you have to be silent, and you have to be still. I came out of it with the biggest moment, and I didn't know that would have happened. And the rest of the year went on well. But back in my mind, I was like, you cannot celebrate 40 years of Hollywood and not do it home. You have to come home. Home is where the heart is. I was born here for a reason. I was given this jurisdiction, or I chose this jurisdiction for a reason. And I know what the reason is to execute what I have to execute. When I said, okay, so it's 40th anniversary, but this is 1 year, so this is the one show. It's not the end, it's the beginning, the one of the next 40 years, which I know I could make. I think I could live to the next 40 years for sure. But we decided to do this show. And it was in the moment of that mother of all carnivals. And people really have a lot of narrative around that word, the mother of all carnivals. What does that really mean? What are we really trying to say? And a mother is synonymous with birth, or even rebirth. I just feel like, the pandemic was a moment for the whole world to understand ourselves equally and what we are facing. And then we get a chance to come back out. It's like you went in the womb to represent yourself. And I felt like I had to be present in the carnival. But one of my main decisions after going in and coming back out to what I call, this is my year one. I feel like I'm 1 year old again, starting all over. What do I do first? And the most important thing that rang out to me was, you cannot know where you're going unless you know where you're coming from. Carnival was ringing in my mind, and I thought to myself, what do I really know about carnival? I always say these things about, it was how the slaves used to want to entertain themselves, and the masters used to let us go out and have a little frolic, but I didn't really know. So I made a very, very critical decision to go back to school. I enrolled in UTT Master's course in Carnival Studies under Professor Hollis Liverpool, the mighty Chockless, Professor Rudolph Otley, Calypso Extraordinaire, who is my Panyard Studies teacher and my Calypso 10 Studies teacher. Dr. Keller Francis, who is teaching me academic writing, things I have never done. I have reached O-levels and started A-levels, and I was just thinking about music. I wanted to get out of school. I didn't know, lo and behold, I'll have to come back. This is a 2-year course. I asked them if I could do it part-time. They said, no, you can handle it, do it full-time. I do it full-time, and I think I bounce my head because I don't get any sleep. I have papers to write, I have music to make, I have quizzes to take, and I have been doing well. But the most important thing is my eyes have been open. I used to think, I started off in Calypso, and quickly I moved on to soca because I felt soca was the vehicle that I could do what I wanted to do. And at 9 years old, I listened to myself doing interviews saying, I want to do tunes to bring the world together, the international market and the local market, and for them to all this unity talk at 9 years old. When I listen back to that interview, I do not know who that person is. I don't know what that person is saying, but I acknowledge that it is being said. And I also acknowledge that here I am, years later, doing real unity, bringing people together, always trying to unite with my creative, blessing. So I understand what life is trying to do through me. I don't have a life. I consider myself to be part of life. And what is, life in my experience? This is how it's happening. So Carnival. So I say soca music. I used to fly the flag that my mission is soca is the sound of the Caribbean. Because I feel like it will get there, and I hear the beat in Jamaica, and I hear it in Haiti, and I hear it in the Latin American music, the reggaeton. I can hear the beat, and I say one day they will realize that this is the sound of the Caribbean. It sounds like a vacation. It sounds like a festival. It sounds like paradise. It sounds like that. When you hear it, you feel you're sipping something under a coconut tree in the sun. It's just synonymous. So later on I said, okay, one of my missions in life, I'll tell you, one of my dreams was to produce a huge show on Broadway or Vegas, telling the story of how we came from Africa, how we landed up here, and what happened to us. We come from India, we come from Syria, China, Europe, and land up here. What happened? Well, I started to get a whole new understanding of that in my studies in my one semester that I completed. And the mission was the story of the Caribbean. I went from the sound of the Caribbean to, I must tell the story of the Caribbean. And I thought this was the story, how it happened to Jamaica, what happened to Haiti, what happened to Trinidad, what happened to thing over there. But then when I start studying deeper now, and I find out about Carnival. Carnival is from Africa. Carnival came from Africa. This was being celebrated. I always thought Trinidad is the land of Carnival. We make Carnival. Okay, some people have a Carnival too, but they don't really have a Carnival like a carnival, or, we have a Carnival. But when I started really deep studying, something came here. But because of the conditions of here, it happened very uniquely, unlike anywhere else. And that is a gift that must be shared. So I was aligned now that Machel, your story is no longer about the Caribbean, your story is about the story of Carnival. Because this is not a Caribbean thing, this is a global thing. And right now we need global perception. Because the kind of challenges that we're facing, this need all hands on deck. This need everybody involved. Not what you doing over there, what you doing over there, what we have happening over here. We have issues that are happening to us all as one. So in my little sphere of culture, I started to look around and say, what can I do? Anytime I step out to do a show, I do a presentation that is global. With my country and my jurisdiction in mind, because I know I can only truly express myself being who I am. And while I am global, I can wrap my focus and know that I have a local responsibility, at the same time a national duty. So I looked at it and I thought, soca music, the sound of the Caribbean, the story of Carnival, we must share this with the world. And I look at what's happening in the world. And the Afrobeats music. And I say Afrobeats because there's Afrobeat music. I'm a fan of Fela Kuti. But there is Afrobeats music, which is happening today. I am a huge fan of Wizkid. I'm a huge fan of Afrobeats music because when I drive down the road and I'm listening to it, there is something about it that I don't want to take it off. I feel the same way about soca too, but you know soca have its moods. Something about it is tender, something about it is royal, something about it I resonate with. And then I realized it's not just me, it's the entire Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago. They love Burna Boy. They bring Burna Boy here multiple times, even in the Carnival in Tobago. Wonderful. I have no issues with it because I feel that this is the source of where we are coming from. I am joyful to sit with the source and say, look at what we have done. Look at what we have done here in Trinidad with what you have done. So it's a kind of marriage that is happening for me, and I felt the movement of Afrobeats music makes us very proud to see how the entire world, the Justin Biebers and the J-Lo's and the Chris Browns, they all embracing it. What a wonderful moment to see us understanding the importance of our roots. So, Carnival, I wanted us to truly know what Carnival is, the story of it, where we come from, and I am starting at the source. I also, think that there's a one side that is a history lesson, but the more important side is the contemporary side of what is happening today, what is happening now. We don't have the past, we don't have the future, but right now, I think we are upon a moment, just like we have technology in our hands that we could take out and speak to the entire world through this, which is a blessing. We could either choose it to destroy or we could choose it to unite. We could speak to the entire world. Never have we had that opportunity. But in Afrobeat, we have a music that can relate to the entire world, and music is the way we spread messages. So I wanted to align ourselves with that music. I think we are already aligned. Soca music is Afro and Indo in its natural state. It is that unity. The strangest thing is Rema, who is probably has the biggest Afrobeat song in the world, Calm Down. It's a nice message, calm down. He was saying that people tell him he sound Indian. You sound Indian. He said, well, I like that, But there's something about the Muslim or the Arabic or the something in the African nature where those things collide. And my real joy in music is when music collide. There is a space where the French meets the Spanish. I plan to explore that. I went to Japan and I hear beats that sound like Caribbean music. I want to explore that. I like the joints. The joints is where energy is stored. And if you don't wake it up, you get arthritis and you get rigor mortis. We want life. So I'm working in the joints, the places where we are connected. And one of the biggest connections about Carnival and Trinidad and knowing ourselves is restoring our heritage. The African drum. We came here with it, it was really powerful for us, and it was taken away. It was suppressed. But did we give up? Were we by the rivers of Babylon crying? No, we weren't there crying, we were joyful. And we took up what we thought was a substitute, bamboo. We cut tambu bamboo and we started to beat tambu bamboo soap. And innate in the African was heating metals and hitting metals. We was hitting metals with the tambu, and somehow, somebody want to hit a metal and make a sound, and watching the shape of the bamboo and seeing the iron, and an idea was born. We went from Congo drum to steel drum. Nowhere in the world you could find that. It didn't happen anywhere else. Facts. This is what we have to be proud of. This is what we have to know is who we are, what we have done, and what we have to do with it. So, restoring that heritage was important. Part of my Panyard studies class, I had to go and follow up on site. I went down by Deltones, my whole team, Separia. We started to study it. We go in for Panorama, what song we were going to do. And then we remember for the last 5 years, Deltos, Separate Deltos, and I have been working on a project with Hugh Masekela from Separate to Soweto, an album of the greatest African jazz trumpeter playing Lord Kitchener music, Mighty Sparrow music, Alison Hines music, KMC music, Daisy Vozen music, Machel Montano music. And we had this album with a lead song entitled The Meeting Place. Now Hugh Masekela sat with me and he said, before his passing, he said, Machel, my main project in life is heritage restoration, to restore the heritage, especially of the African, because we are the ones who, it has been taken away from the most. And I said to Hugh, I want to be involved. I want to be with you. And he said, let's do it. So part of what my classes is not only restoring my heritage and my understanding for Carnival and who I am, but it's helping all the young people gather that understanding. And if we go to what is your African heritage and what is your this heritage and your Indian heritage, and we will end up knowing that we are universal, cosmic, galactic. So we decided to call the show The Meeting Place because we feel that this is where we all meet in this moment. We had the focus of Afrobeats music. We had the full focus of Welcome Home Carnival, Welcome Home Motherland, Welcome Home Nigeria, where this music is being made, this gateway, this is happening. And we want them to see soca and see where we have come, what we have done, and what we are about to do, because I believe soca music is next. And we must be aligned with Afrobeats music. I've had these conversations with Wizkid. I will have these conversations with Rema. We have Ira Star, who is one of the youngest, brightest females out of Africa, Nigeria, with the biggest song called Rush. When you look at the charts of the soca music charts this week or last week or the week before, Rush is on the charts, right alongside Machel and Destra and Bungie and Kess and Patrice Roberts. She's there, which means and this is an algorithm. It's not a personal choice. This is because the people are listening to this. And we know the metrics. So we feel to be very much on point. The logistics of this show has been nothing like we have ever seen. I really want to give kudos to Jay Upscale, the promoter. Jay's young. Jay believed in us to take up our mission of Barclays Center, and we executed it well, sold out. We had every single soca artist across the board perform. I know I'm going long, but this is necessary. And then we said, let's work with Trinidad and Tobago. This is my right hand man. This is my left hand man. This is the producer. Tony Cholinon has been my partner and producer of these shows, because when I want to say something important, creatively I need genius. And I need somebody who understands what I'm trying to say, who resonates with it, who is aligned with it, who has been doing the same thing that I've been doing. We are like one. And over here, we are like one because these are not easy things to execute. On that night, we are displaying every facet of the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. We are opening with the young, upcoming artists who we think are next and who we know are next. We are highlighting the women in the industry who are not only next, ready to give birth to a new type of soca, but those who have given us great works and deserve to be honored, because this is a male-dominant business, and they have stood tall. We have our chutney, and I say chutney because it's not East Indian. Chutney is another Trinidad thing. Chutney music happen here the way it happened here. We Ravi B being represented there, representing that. We also have the cast of the soca plethora. When you're talking power soca, on that night, power soca will be powerful. When you're talking groovy soca, we have the engine room. We also going to be putting some surprises. I don't like to give away everything, but we love a magical moment. Our magic moment, I wish to share it. It's still our element of surprise in it, but I wish to share it. That moment will be called the meeting place, because we are going to pay tribute to the Black Stallion, his family. I am very close with his family, his daughter, his wife, his sons, his grandsons. We are like family, because they have always treated me that way. And I know what they are going through, and I just feel like if we accept the moment, we have been given an opportunity to celebrate the black man. And I stress black man because he stood for something that we are dealing with right now. And that will be revealed on that night. Moving out to that, I have a little bit of surprise, but we're coming into the meeting place, and the meeting place is from Congo drum to steel drum. I want to stress the African drum and the steel pan. Hugh Masekela's spirit will be with us, but on that night, there is a clue. That clue is from a man who's very dear to me, and we are honoring on that night. His name is Carlton Zander, one of the greatest musicians out of Trinidad, like a feather, brother of Clive Zander. You know the Zander brothers, genius. Carlton wrote this song, The Meeting Place, for myself and Hugh Masekela. We worked together with Hugh. He worked with Deltones. And he passed the torch to Akinola Senon, who's a brother I grew up with in Siparia. Akinola Senon is the arranger. And on that night, I am going to invite Siparia Deltones and Carlton Zander on stage in a miraculous presentation. But that is just half. Because when there's that side of the moon, we want the side of the sun. And the side of the sun, the rising side, is that Carlton Zander is also the arranger of one of the greatest steel orchestras in Trinidad and Tobago, Desperados. They have won a title in every decade since the beginning of Panorama. I know this because of my school classes. Okay? So we will celebrate them, and we will invite them on stage also. Machel Zander Deltones, Zander Despas, and who? If you have Machel, you must have the rising sun. Voice will be there with Despas, playing their pansom of choice, which they are going to be in the finals with. Long live soca.
Could I just also add that this moment has some support from our sister Anne, and we are flying in the Signal Choir to be a part of this presentation, so we understand what it means for us as Trinbago. So we want to say welcome to Signal Hill as well.
And as Charles said, we always ask ourselves, what is the moment in the show where people will take home and understand why we doing what we're doing? This is the moment. This is the moment. And I still have a layer to that moment that I wouldn't reveal right now. But it is also important to the next generation and the next generation. Because that is what we're doing this for. To leave a legacy. We don't want to leave our young ones here with a barren soil. We don't want to leave them with things that we didn't take care of. What will they say about us? My mission is always that. On this night, we want to present this to the world. We have a lot of celebrities flying into because it's Carnival Friday. And we feel that in the mother of all carnivals, this is the mother of all shows that we could present to the best of our ability. I hope I didn't miss anything. I tried my best to let it flow from the heart, and I thank you all again. I guess we are open.
I just before we get to that, as a producer, I try to, well, for me, I like the opportunity, and I honor the opportunity to work with the best people. I'm working with Machel over the years and so on. They say, hey, we always want to represent at the highest that we could possibly do. And this particular show, Meet and Place, affords the opportunity to tell the story of Carnival in a unique way. Because a lot of times, growing up as a young producer, you always hear, hey, we want to make it on the billboard, we want to make Grammys, we want to do all these things. But as we mature as producers, as music producers, as Trinidad people, artists, I've come to realize that our real thing is to recognize who we are and celebrate it and present it. We don't need no endorsements, but you know what? On Carnival weekend, it's a perfect platform to produce something that hopefully we could be proud of, that could give us the highest form of who we are. But in so doing, we understand that what we're trying to say about the Meet and Place and our Carnival story is really this story of the Cambole. And I want to acknowledge and ask Attila Springer to come to the podium, because this story has been the lifelong work of Dr. Springer, her mom, Mintu Springer. So I ask Attila to come and say a few words, please.
Good morning, everyone. Please forgive my voice. I'm having lots of rehearsals going on right now. I want to give thanks for mothers. My own mother, who has given her life to Cultural Week. I want to give thanks to Machel's mother, Machel Montano, who Machel chose to come through. I want to give thanks to Mother Earth. And finally, I want to give thanks to Mother Africa. The work that we have been doing with Cambole since 2004 is serious community work. It is us taking 100 young people every year and teaching them about why Carnival is important, why the Spirit does call us every year. And so the opportunity for us to infuse some of the elements of that Cambole production that happens on the morning 4 a.m. on Piccadilly Greens. I know some of you all might not have been able to make it in the past 15 years that we've been doing the show, but that moment when we go into the weekend celebrating, so often we forget our moments of victory. And for us, Carnival is a constant reminder of that victory. It is a moment of joy in the face of the tremendous ugliness of our history. And the opportunity for us to be part of this one show, to be in the meeting place, because certainly Cambole is where the meeting place is, the unbroken connection between Mother Africa and Trinidad and Tobago. So, what else can I say? But thank you so much for the opportunity for our 100 and something young people. Our cast goes from age 8 to 78, right? And we are so excited, we are so honored, we are so, overwhelmed. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Okay, thanks.
Well, I always like to say that at would like to throw away all the surprises, especially production. But I know Shao is very passionate about what we do in Camberley, and that is the parts that we want to hit home. You know, you usually see us with a lot of Machel, a lot of costumes. We have a lot of the folk performers, you know, coming at most times. But the Camberley is really a tribute to the stick man who saved Carnival from being taken away from us, and we don't really get a chance to celebrate it. Our real task on that night is that we have to make people party, because they really come out there to party, bottom line. But at the same time, how do we educate them and how do we engage them in a little bit of their soul and their spirit while doing this? And we are going to receive that help from the Camberley crew.
Tell them what?
You know, it's what's head on that night. But really and truly, we really honor, you know, the ancestors. But make no mistake, Machel know how to make a non-stop party show. And the things that will go in your bloodstream, you will only really feel it when you lie down in your bed and close your eye and remember what was happening to you. So, Attila, thank you. Thanks to your mom. And to all those, everybody who is supporting us, and we look forward to presenting this show to the world. Thank you.
All right. Well, as informative and heartfelt and in-depth as that was, the challenge is now to the floor for anyone to ask questions. It's going to be a challenging time indeed, because I mean, that was very clear, and we appreciate that sneak peek. Several detailed sneak peeks as to what we can look forward to, and still a whole lot of mystery. But the floor is open now to ask any questions that may tickle your fancy.
And let me just add one thing. You know, I don't like to give away surprises, but I love to tantalize.
You said this about 7 times.
Yes, I know. Don't be late. Because we have a full Wizkid performance, concert performance, and I really am impressed with how well Wizkid does his singing on live shows, his band. You know, Wizkid is like the pinnacle of it. And then you have Buddha Boy and you have all the others, but to see Wizkid execute on these songs that he sings is amazing, and he's going to be before us, so don't miss that. And then we have other things before that.
10 o'clock.
That's 10 o'clock, yeah. And I am on promptly. But the most important thing I want to say, do not miss my intro. It has never been done in this region before. We are doing something very special. You know, I like to come out hot. So the intro, of course, is another part of the show itself, so don't miss that. And that's all I will say.
Yeah, and I will take this opportunity to give a little sneak peek in that regard and say, look to the east when it happens.
All right.
Right. Questions. The floor is yours, ladies and gentlemen.
What time is the intro?
Machel is on at 11 sharp.
The gates open at 6. The first act on stage is at 9 o'clock. And a lot of the soca superstars are sprinkled all through, from the opening through to Machel's segment. And some big ones are up front, big ones at the back. I would say be there for 9 o'clock. Don't miss it.
You're accurate. So we have the first hour, we have the Wizkid hour, and we say hour because we have the DJ transitions in between. But I am very much trying to keep my set to 3 hours this year. I'm trying real hard. Right now we in the band and we are 3:32. And we're trying to shape, but we have so many songs to sing. We know people have so many requests, and we have magical moments that we want to treat very well.
And over the years, we've been known to always start on time.
Yes.
And 9 o'clock we do ever miss. That countdown clock started one time. And then I remember that year with Like a Boss, because there was so much traffic around the city. people were now coming in at 10 o'clock and 10:30, and by that time Machel is on the stage, and all the background people are weeping on the outside because of the excitement, because they started the parade way outside of the grounds. For those who remember that moment, and I'm saying, the gates open at 6, make yourself comfortable, find a position in the meeting place. We would really love everybody to see all of this show.
A show like this is more than just a snapshot and a one-time event. Are you planning to film this for future broadcasts?